So I want to focus on this first, because this is something that, I've been talking about for, months now, certainly before the coronavirus pandemic, but especially now. And that is just the fact that, the real estate market for so many agents has been really good for several years. I mean, the market here, we've seen 8 years of solid appreciation. Will we see some more appreciation this year? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think technically prices are pretty flat right now. But really the thing that no one's really talking about is, what are agents actually doing with their time? Are they actually working? Or because the market has been so good, are they used to this kind of set it and forget it approach to selling real estate? So many people are in this industry to do a few deals a year as just a bit of a side hustle. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're going to go and sell your house, you deserve the person that's going to give you the best opportunity to sell it for the most amount of money possible, or the person that's going to exhaust all of their resources to help you find that property to purchase, get you in it first, or get you there before anybody else knows about it. And we're going to talk about some of those different strategies over the course of the next hour. But really the big issue in our market right now is that I think a few weeks ago, about, 90% of our market just basically quit working. I mean, they're doing a few things here and there to maintain their business, but they're certainly not being proactive in their business. And this is something that I find across the board. I've mentioned this on the show before, but every other week I mastermind with some of the top agents in the country, some of which are doing, thousands of deals a year. I was just on the phone earlier this week with the number one agent in the country who will probably sell about 6,000 homes this year. That's no small number of homes to sell. Gosh, I'd be lucky to get anywhere close to that. But we're just talking about, what agents are doing, how they can capitalize on this opportunity where people are at home. And we, at least on our team, we've seen about a 20% increase in online activity. There are plenty of people right now that are just watching and waiting. And I've shared stats. I'm not really going to go into stats much today. But if you look at the stats, it's incredible to me that we're essentially putting the same number of homes on the market, and we're putting about the same number of homes under contract on a weekly basis as we were this time last year, even though we've seen about a 50% drop in the number of showings market-wide. Now, that could tell us a few things, but one of the things it tells me, and just, being realistic about it, is that about half of the people that go and look at homes are not ready to buy. They're not ready, willing, and able. They're just using your home to further their research or their understanding of what they like or don't like about homes similar to yours, so that they can then refine their search to ultimately find the one they want to buy. Obviously, right now, people aren't really subjecting themselves to walking through other people's homes unless they're serious about moving. And of course, we're coming in behind these showing requests, and we're making sure that if you're walking through my listing, that you are in a position to make an offer, that you're financially secure, and that you know what you're walking into before you walk into it. So we educate our other agents or the buyers about each individual listing that we have for sale, so that we can make the most out of that showing. We're educating those agents on how to show our listing and the best features of those listings in a really informed and helpful way, which just creates a better showing experience for the buyer, for the buyer's agent, and ultimately for the seller, because it increases our likelihood of getting an offer from them, or at least weeding out the people that are not interested in making a purchase right now. Before the coronavirus pandemic, we were probably canceling 25% of our showings because they just weren't ready to buy. And, from my perspective, I've been doing this for long enough to know that I don't want to get those phone calls from those irritated sellers that say, I just spent 2 hours cleaning my house, and then I spent another hour, driving around while these folks walked through my house. And then I got the feedback and I learned that, they're not ready to buy for another year. Why did we have this showing in the first place? And it's a major frustration for sellers, and I totally get it, which is why we pre-qualify our showings. But right now, the coronavirus is kind of doing some of that for us. As I mentioned, showings are down about 50% on average. We used to be getting about 6,000 showings a week. We've had some weeks that were 2,500. Last week, I think we're a little over 4,000. Still certainly not the level of activity that we're used to. But the challenge, going back to my original comment here, is that there are a bunch of agents in this market that just have they've kind of given up. They are purely in maintenance mode. And what I mean by that is that they likely could have sold several homes a year without really doing much. Because if you think about it, and this happens to us, and I realize the irony in this comment, but we'll have folks that call me after hearing me on the radio, and we ultimately work together. We help them buy a home or sell a home, and obviously a lot of work goes into providing you guys with valuable content and education so that you feel comfortable contacting me to help you be your real estate agent and help you with your real estate transaction. But some of these people, somebody knows that they're in real estate. And so they call that person that they know is in real estate and they say, hey, I want to buy a house, or hey, I want to sell a house. And they put the home on the market. They put it on the MLS. They put a sign in the yard. Maybe they do like a Facebook post on their Facebook page. Maybe they do an open house, but that's really about it. And the home still sells. So really the question is, can you still right now get by with doing minimal effort? To an extent, the answer is yes, depending upon where your home is located and the price point that you're in. I mean, the lower price points, anything $300,000 and less, it's such a seller's driven market that those homes are going to sell if they're priced correctly, they're in decent condition, and they've at least been exposed to the world. But some of these more challenging properties, you got to go above and beyond. But you should be asking yourself the question as a seller of, is the bare minimum good enough? Is that really what I want? And is that what I deserve when I put my home on the market? And so we're going to, a little bit later on, we're going to talk about how do we interview these agents and what are some of the questions that you can ask them to really kind of uncover what they're going to do proactively. Or have you just found an agent that's going to do what they've always done? Just kind of react to the market, react when buyers say, hey, I'm interested. Or are they actually going out and finding them? These are some of the questions you as a seller need to be asking yourself. Same thing on the buyer side. You can go to Zillow and find your own homes. You don't need an agent for that. You need an agent, to open the door. And so a lot of agents in our market are glorified door openers. And then when you find something you like, yeah, of course they can help you negotiate, and you just hope that they actually have some skill in that area. But you should be finding the agents that are going to go out there and proactively find you homes that other people don't know about, or that are going to proactively communicate with you and say, hey, did you just see 123 Main Street hit the market? I sent you an email about it this morning. I think it's exactly what you're looking for. Let's set up a time to go and see it. And I'm saying that not to sound like a pushy real estate agent. I'm saying that because if your agent really understands what you're looking for, then part of what they do should be to assist you in getting into that house before other people do. Because when we price our properties for sale, one of the feelings that we want a buyer to have is, man, if I don't go and see this house, this is going to sell. I have to make a decision here, because if I don't, someone else will. That is how you want buyers to feel when your property hits the market. And obviously there's a lot that goes into that to create that feeling, but that, generally speaking, is how you want the buyers to react to the marketing that you put out there for your house. And so if your agent hasn't figured out a way to do that, and yes, I do understand that price cures everything. If your home is worth $300,000 and an agent puts it on for $275,000, well, just the very fact that it's listed for $275,000 is going to excite people. Except for the seller who's giving away $25,000 in, the form of equity in their house, because that's the only tool in the agent's tool belt, is just to underprice a property. Anybody can do that. But the challenge right now is, number one, finding an agent that's going to work, that's going to wake up in the morning and go to work and run their business like a business. The second thing is finding somebody that actually has the tools and the resources and the systems and the processes and the support to sell virtually and to create something that's different from what any other agent can do. And we have invested, I can't even tell you the number right now, but I would say that it's certainly over the past several years, well over $1 million in our systems, our processes, our marketing techniques that help us outperform the market. I mean, our homes sell in 19 days and for 98.5% of asking price. And yeah, those stats sound great and they are great, but not everybody wants to sell really quickly. Someone might be okay with waiting 90 days or 180 days, so long as they get the price that they need to make sense out of moving. And so that's why, people that lead with statistics on how great they are and how awesome they are and how they're the best real estate agent in the world, you always need to be asking yourself, well, how does that apply to me and my situation and my home? And so I think the challenge that we have right now is that agents don't have a lot of direction. They don't have a lot of training. They got into the business because it was easy to sell a few homes a year and make some money and it not be just, frankly, a waste of their time or resources. And now that they're realizing, wow, I actually have to go above and beyond to sell real estate and make connections with people and pick up the phone and work and be a salesperson, those are the people that are they're going to start fading away. They're going to start getting out of the business. And quite frankly, our market is oversaturated with agents that are just trying to do a few deals a year. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. You as a consumer just need to ask yourself the question of, is that approach the right approach for me? Is that what I want my agent to be doing? Or do I want to hire somebody that's doing more at a higher level that will produce better results? Because really the results speak for themselves. Our motto is passion, integrity, results. We love what we do. We're never going to compromise our integrity. We are going to put your needs above our interest in a commission always. And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is whether we can get the job done for you at the price and terms that make you happy, because that's what creates repeat business, and that's how businesses last. So I think you're going to see, again, as time goes on, agents will start to get out of the business because they just don't know what to do, or they're just not willing to do it. They're not willing to go above and beyond. They're not willing to adjust their technique, or they're not willing to, stick to the habits of a high-performance real estate agent that yield results. So it'll be interesting to watch, but I'm telling you right now that there's a large population of agents in our marketplace, really nationwide, that their hands are just up in the air, or frankly, they're just kind of resting on both sides of their recliner as they, finish season 3 of Ozark on Netflix or whatever it is they're watching. I mean, that's their job right now is trying to finish Netflix. And I think a lot of you can probably relate to that.